Yari Ingrid Suguk, Yarente, Iruin.
Ren shqaqi juntir pues run yari María Cook yen Rufeya Ingrid y kamen qajon qayajon atsin jetik chpajon tqaqi chpanga choch chen qa qakut qajon qik chiwach a ver akin qaji qatlamitra.
Welcome everybody, this is our home and today my mom is going to be teaching all of you how to make a traditional dish from our community. They're called tayuyos or toan in our language, and my mom is going to share a little bit of the step-by-step process and hopefully you can follow along. Alright, so
Kamen ay qajon qa ipachiwa de que lo que qajon le qon qik qan kamaya la qaban qajon aknak qatsak ba qaknak y qon qik antes qatsak ba knak.
So now we're going to go over the ingredients that we use to make this food. So the first one is the kinak or frijol or beans. So this is black bean. And in our case, we cook it the day before and then we grind it to get it to this consistency. But you can also just use canned beans, and there's canned refried beans. So for our second step now is going to be the masa. So my mom is going to demonstrate how to prepare the masa. And first we start with maseca. So this is corn flour. And you can find this at any store like Fred Meyer's or Safeway or any Mexican store. They'll have masa that you can buy. So we'll start with that and my mom will demonstrate.
Entonces kamaya lang kaan ba qakien chen kaan le toan kaan ba qakien quieren kaan jara kaya ba qakien chpan contrast kaya yarga como que tajin kaan kawash pues tajin kapon kawash o chen kajon kaan con ka chi español tortilla y chachara más o menos quieren kaan jara con kien kaan preparar chile toan.
So part of the masa that's important is that you're going to be adding, as she showed, about 2 cups. And then water, you want to start with little water. And then you just add until you get to the consistency that you actually need. And so as you can see here, the consistency of this, you want to get it to be a dough. You don't want it too runny, so make sure to be careful with the water, but you want it to be just about right. So you can see there that my mom's going to add a little bit more water because it's still a little dry. Also, if it's too dry, it will break, so you don't want that either.
Igarin kaya ba chen chik ba terkiit na alekien kaya ba tatsanrk
So what we do is we add some salt so that the masa actually has a little bit of flavor. So I would say approximately for 2 cups, you'll probably want to add anywhere maybe like 1 teaspoon of salt. And then you also want to try it to make sure if you like the flavor.
Kaya ba aceite para que an suave lekien.
So next, you will add a little bit of oil. It can be any oil. We use olive oil. And you want to add approximately about 1 teaspoon as well of olive oil into the masa. And so what my mom is doing now is really, it gives it a little bit of flavor. And so yeah, that's basically what you're going to be doing, is adding that for flavor. So now we're done with the masa, and this is what you want. So make sure that it is this consistency where it's still a little bit sticky, but soft and it's moldable so that we're going to be able to work with it. And that's what you want. So now we're actually going to start making the toans or the tayuyos. This is called a ka in our language. It has been used to grind corn and sauces. It's a very traditional tool that we use in our community. We have brought one all the way from Guatemala here so you can see it, but I'm sure that you don't have a ka in your home. But no worries, you can still do this. You'll just have to use a cutting board, will work just fine. So that's what you can use instead of the ka. So as you can see what my mom is doing here, she'll explain to you what is happening.
لكن خيات وش لتكا Nka anshash chara chin nka ankon forma chin anshash likiin manganah pin.
So what my mom is going to do here, which is what you're going to do with your cutting board, is that you're going to spread your masa that you just made. And as you can see it, she is pressing on it and kind of thinning it down. And that's what you want to do. So you want to press on the masa and get it all around the shape of the cut or your cutting board. And you want to just get a thin layer of the masa down. So you don't want to make it too thick because that will also not work. So make sure it's a thin layer. So make sure you press and get it as even as you can.
Tas kelang kanah likiin chile le taan kelang kanah likiin.
And this is what you can see right now. So
and tas kame yang kaya le kina achwach.
And now we take a little bit of beans, so the beans that we had showed you before, and now you're gonna do exactly the same thing. So you're gonna start spreading it over the corn masa, and you're gonna get it into a thin layer. So you can watch the process that my mom is taking right now, where she's gonna spread it, and you can do it with your hands if you're comfortable. If not, you can always use just a spreader like you would use for a cake, like if you use it for icing a cake, you can do that too. And that will probably help. This is just the traditional way that we make it. So, yeah, this is definitely something that. Okay, so that's the step. So now we have, as you can see, a layer of thin masa and a layer of beans. So now the next step, my mom is going to explain. So now you're going to be able to see that she turn it around because she's going to show you exactly what comes next. So what you want to do is that here you can see that she's pushing her fingers to push it forward. And so this is what we're going to do with the whole time. Again, you can use your hands, and if you don't feel comfortable, you can use something like this. And what you can do is just do this as well, right? Just this. But whatever you're comfortable with.
Después quieren
So what you want to do is like almost you want to roll it. So we're gonna roll it. So you push it up and then you roll one layer over the other. So basically what you want to have is almost like what you would see like a cinnamon roll, right? You're just rolling it around. So that's what you want to do.
Entonces nkaan kire charang kanam lekiin garin kapus kanam lekiin garin kapus
Push and then you fold. You push and then you fold.
Hasta hanste bekis.
Until you get to the very end.
Entonces kame yash bekis shitsat tas show you
So now you can see that it's done. She's at the end of it, and we have a nice big thick roll of corn and bean together.
Entonces kame nkawisaf kiren kaanjala.
So then you're gonna lift it.
Y después quieren kanjara.
So then you get it over here in the middle. So now you can see that the bean is inside, right? And you have the corn on the side. And no worries if it breaks like this, where you kind of see the beans around it. It's totally fine. That's not a problem.
Y kame como la kaahon recho num mama num kalahin tas kame kaamas shash chara kaamas shash chetas kiren kaanchangla kiren kaanjara.
So what you want to get, as you can see, is that once you roll it, it's pretty thick. So you want to place it in the middle of your board, and then you want to start pushing on the sides to get it to be a little bit thinner. And that helps for the time when you actually cook it, so that it actually cooks all the way through. So that would be the step that we do. So you want to get it to about that size. Okay. So now the next step is that we're going to cut it. So here you can see you're going to cut it into small pieces. I would say that this is about 3 inches. So now you can see that here we have 6 toans or tayuyus, and this is what we're going to be able to cook. So the next step is that this is what we wrap our tayuyus in. This is, we call these they're corn husks. And you can actually find these at any Latin American stores in town, or actually you can actually even find them at Fred Meyer's. So you definitely have a place to be able to get them. And the process for these that's really important is when you get them in the bag, they're pretty hard and dry. So you want to make sure that the night before, or at least a few hours before, you also soak them in water. So you soak all of these in water for as many hours as you can, so that softens them and you're able to work with them. So as you can see, we've actually soaked these overnight, so they're pretty soft, and this is what we're going to be using. So my mom's picking a piece here, and so what she's going to do now is actually going to grab a piece.
So
you take a piece and then you shape it,
and
then you put it inside the corn husk. Fold it.
Después lo mismo
So you do the same thing. You grab it, you shape it, and place it in the corn husk, wrap it, a little baby, and then place it there. So you do the same thing with each piece that you have. Grab it, shape it, place in the corn husk. If your corn husk is a little small, like it is in this case, you can always add an extra one. So you just add a small one. There you go. So fairly easy. Grab it, you shape it, put it in the corn husk. So that's the last one. Place it in the corn husk and hold it. So that's what they need to look like. So next,
pero como hueco le cosen que ir a vaporero, entonces
so what we're going to use here is obviously a very traditional container, but you can use just any pot that you have at home. So the way that we're going to cook these is actually you're going to steam them, almost like you would do with dumplings. So my mom's using this container. You can use any pot that you have at home. And she's gonna place now a little bit of water at the bottom of it. So that's what she's gonna do next. So you want to put approximately for this amount of tayuyus, I would say probably like 2 cups of water, 2 to 3 cups of water, and then as you can see right there, that's about 2 or 3 cups of water. And then this is what we use to put it in there so that they're not just floating in the water. And then you just arrange them and place them inside your pot. Just all around it. Okay. So there you go. And then you cover them. If you have a lid, we'll place a lid on top of this, and then we'll cook them for approximately ¿cuánto tiempo?
45 minutes.
About 45 minutes. So it's now been approximately 45 minutes with the fire, and we're going to check on our tayuyus. See that they are boiling and they look nice and ready to be served. So you turn it off. And let it cool for a little bit.
Kami ya 45 minutos y kami kawisak pang katuy. Yung kaya pang kon ka atras to check yung hak. Yung kaya kon o kaya salsa de tomate, purwi, o kaya o atush kaya purwi, se pueden allá queso purwi, se pueden allá con la ensalada de repollo. En este caso, nada más shunya salsa de tomate purwi la, quieren manjarla, quieren manjara, nia salsa de tomate purwi. Y como eran cachnuache ik, entonces quieren manjarla. Inchalke iknia parwe. Y si quieres con ensalada de repollo o con tipo de ensalada, se puede acompañar on y ya se puede servir.
So as you can see, we are serving them here. You open them up, put them in a plate. We accompany it usually with tomato sauce and a chili spicy sauce, and you serve it with however much you would like, and they are ready to eat. Enjoy!